Hello everyone, today we're diving into one of the most talked about shifts in Lee Min-ho's career over the last few years, and that is how his role in Pachinko fundamentally changed the way both critics and audiences evaluate his acting, because what initially seemed like just another high-profile project quickly turned into a reference point for discussions about his range and long-term positioning in the global industry. When Pachinko premiered on Apple TV+, early reactions across platforms like Reddit and international drama forums focused heavily on casting, with many users expressing skepticism about whether Lee Min-ho could convincingly portray a morally ambiguous character like Ko Han-soo, especially given his long-standing association with romantic leads and composed, almost idealized personas. However, as episodes progressed, that skepticism began to shift into more nuanced discussions, particularly around how he approached subtle manipulation and quiet dominance rather than overt emotional display. What stands out in these discussions is how frequently viewers pointed out his use of restraint, especially in scenes where tension is built not through dialogue, but through silence and body language, which contrasts sharply with the more expressive acting style often expected in mainstream Korean dramas. Some fans even revisited his earlier works, arguing that elements of this performance style were always present but overlooked because of the types of roles he was given. Interviews conducted around the release of the show reveal that Lee Min-ho himself was aware of the risks involved, noting that he deliberately chose a project that would challenge both audience expectations and his own established image, which aligns with a broader trend among top actors attempting to transition into more globally oriented productions. Industry analysts also highlighted that working in a multi-language, multinational production environment likely contributed to a more grounded and controlled performance approach. At the same time, not all reactions were universally positive, as some viewers argued that his portrayal still leaned too heavily on charisma rather than transformation, suggesting that while Pachinko expanded his perceived range, it did not completely redefine it. This split opinion is important because it reflects a deeper conversation about what audiences expect from actors who transition from domestic stardom to global storytelling platforms. So the real question becomes whether Pachinko represents a turning point that will influence his future project choices, or if it will remain an isolated example of what happens when a familiar actor is placed in an unfamiliar narrative framework, and more importantly, whether audiences are ready to fully accept that evolution.